Welcome to On Cue. I'm your host, Eric Olson. The scope of the Destination Medical Center initiative in Rochester is far-reaching. Rochester and the Minnesota Renewable Energy Roundtable are looking at ways of how to incorporate renewable energy into the plan. We'll learn more with Michael Sparby. Barry Rush is here to talk about the upcoming walk-a-thon for the Mower County Humane Society, and John Gray shows off the new directional signs from the Vision 2020 Gateway Committee. Stay with us. On Cue is next.
From KSMQ Television in Austin, this is On Cue, connecting interesting issues and interesting people. On Cue.
The Minnesota Renewable Energy Roundtable recently met to discuss the potential for biomass as part of the Destination Medical Center project in Rochester. Here to tell us more is Michael Sparby from the Agriculture Utilization Research Institute. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Eric.
Biomass is a fuel source, I know that much, but tell me a little bit about how it would fit into the Destination Medical Center project.
Yeah, what they looked at with the meeting on July 17th was we pulled in experts from around the region. So individuals from Fargo, North Dakota, to La Crosse, to western Minnesota, to identify what the potential is. The meeting was structured as such where we looked at what were some of the opportunities as it pertains to policy initiatives on the federal and the state level, as well as moving into identification of what the availability of biomass would be. And specifically to answer your question, the biomass would be used to heat and cool an area of downtown Rochester. We looked at the availability of biomass, woody biomass, which would be leftover, switchgrass. At least on the woody side, it would be more of the tops.
Waste.
Yep, tops and the limbs, and what's available within a 50-mile radius.
And you would burn those in a power plant that would burn that in place of traditional methods like coal, correct?
Coal
which has
or natural
more,
gas
which has
or,
more
yep,
pollutants.
exactly.
So it's better for the environment.
Exactly. You're utilizing a carbon source that is renewable, as opposed to a carbon source that was captured millions of years ago.
So that's one way. What about like solar or wind energy, those kind of things? Is that viable?
Usually not in a standalone, but in a suite of different technologies. So one of the examples at the meeting, the case study, or actually a discussion, was Gundersen Health Systems. They gave a presentation on what they did to move their hospital and buildings to essentially be a net zero. So they are actually producing more energy than they're using. And with that, it's a combination of geothermal, solar, wind, as well as biomass. So it's a suite of technologies that are put together. And with them, probably one of the biggest one was conservation. So identifying where their greatest uses were, and being able to put in technologies that reduce that use.
So if I'm a business owner downtown in Rochester, or the clinic, obviously, would everybody be part of this system, or how would it work?
Well, all of that needs to be hammered out in the details, but another presenter that was at the meeting was Ken Smith from St. Paul District Energy. So looking at what the city of St. Paul has done, where they are supplying heating and cooling to the downtown St. Paul area. So, and they are operating that with woody biomass, mainly coming from trees or limbs that have fallen within the metro area, as well as within about a 50-mile radius from downtown St. Paul.
And then it comes into a facility there in downtown somewhere?
Yep, it comes into a facility in downtown. It's located by the XL Energy Center, by the Science Museum.
Oh, sure.
Right next door. And they have the trucks coming in and dumping the biomass off and utilizing that for their heating and cooling needs.
We're talking with Michael Sparby of the Agriculture Utilization Research Institute about plans or discussions to have a little renewable energy use in the Destination Medical Center project.
You know, I think our purpose of having the roundtable, give you a little bit of the history of the roundtable. AURI and our stakeholders started the roundtable back in about 2006, really just to pull individuals that have interest in moving renewable energy in the state of Minnesota forward. And we structure the roundtables around different areas of interest. So one may be looking at liquid fuels, so biodiesel, ethanol. Another one we looked at higher valued liquid fuels, so getting into chemicals and utilizing biomass for higher value uses. And this one was specific to the Rochester area. We had gotten calls from the area expressing interest, so we decided to pull together in collaboration with the entities within the Destination Medical Center project or organization to put together a forum that supplies information, allows them to ask questions, and hopefully plant some seeds and see where it goes.
Was DMC participating in this?
Yes.
And what takeaways did you get from them? Specifically,
I did not have specific conversations, but the overall takeaway from the meeting was extremely positive. There was about 60 individuals at the meeting. And a lot of questions, a lot of in-depth questions, and very productive.
Just as a technology, when you talk about biomass, is the technology there, and is the resource, is there enough of the stuff to make it viable?
Good question. So part of the presentations, one was from the DNR. Taking a look at the availability of woody biomass within a 50-mile radius of Rochester, and identified more than enough woody biomass. On top of that, we had Dr. Joel Talixon, who is from the University of Minnesota, located out of Morris, Minnesota, and he had done a report that was sponsored by AURI and the Minnesota Corn Growers and the university to look at the egg biomass, specifically stover, corn stover. And the report identified about 50,000 tons of available biomass. So that's biomass that would be able to be taken off the land, but yet still maintaining enough residue on the land where you're not depleting the soils.
Boy, that's great. It's probably more expensive, and the whole infrastructure of transport and procurement.
They're utilizing egg biomass does definitely bring into play storage, densification, transportation issues that you don't necessarily have with the woody biomass because it's already in a dense form. You can store it in its current form. So usually with woody biomass, the economics are going to be much better as opposed to an egg biomass.
Okay. Well, wonderful, Michael. This was interesting, and good luck as you continue to pursue green alternatives for the DMC project.
Great, thank you.
Michael Sparby from the Agriculture Utilization Research Institute. Stay with us now. Folks from the Mower County Humane Society will join us next.
Information about the Minnesota Renewable Energy Roundtable, as well as the Agricultural Utilization Research Institute, is available at auri.org.
You can watch On Cue anytime by visiting the KSMQ TV website, ksmq.org.
And welcome back to On Cue. Hey, let's talk about pets. Where would we be in the world without our pets? Huh? I mean, they are a source of inspiration for us, care and feeding of another. And there are new studies out that show that cats and dogs respond to their owners just like a child and a parent do. They've shown that in research now. So we're going to talk a little bit about pets and pet care with our guests, Isabela Alston and Barry Rush, both from the Mower County Humane Society. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, you bet. And both volunteers, longtime volunteers involved with pets. And we talked about the Humane Society and in Mower County, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, the new building?
2013, I believe we started.
13. So we've talked a lot about that, but maybe we talked a little over the whole mission of the Humane Society. So we wanted to do that today and just talk a little bit about more of the nuts and bolts of that organization.
Mm-hmm.
What's really the purpose of the Humane Society?
Well, I just happen to have our mission in front of me. But our mission is to provide food, vet care, and shelter to all the homeless animals in the Mower County area. And that entails a little bit more than just shelter. We also provide getting these animals prepared for adoption, try to socialize them, try to make them feel comfortable with people. And side parts of our mission are to help educate local citizens in the responsibility of pet ownership, getting their pets spayed and neutered, making sure that they have ID tags, making sure that they're protecting them against ticks and other varmints. Mm-hmm. We sponsor spay and neuter programs that people can bring their pets to at a lower cost. So that's basically our mission.
And Isabela, this is it's something, at least my family members who are involved, it's volunteering, but it's really a labor of love. They love working with animals. How did you become involved?
Absolutely. I became involved by adopting first. I used to bug my fellow volunteer here quite a bit, and after adopting my first, what they call your portal dog, and I had time to it, then I start little by little getting more involved with the whole mission of rescuing pets, and everybody who loves the animal and is connected somehow to one will love to come and help us volunteer, because it's really extremely gratifying to have this opportunity.
And your organization, like many others, it's volunteer
100%.
Yeah. We have now in Austin, Minnesota, with this new shelter. This is a large shelter, 9,000 square feet, and we have 180 animals housed there. And we're operating with an entire volunteer staff. We have no paid employees, and that's quite a feat if you think about it.
But just the organization alone, make sure you have people there and so on.
Yes, it's sometimes a constant battle developing your work schedule.
Are you always in need of volunteers?
Always.
Always.
Do they have to know, what kinds of experiences do they have to have?
We are open to any volunteer, even the ones who don't have any experience prior. they will come along as they observe the older volunteers, they're more seasoned volunteers. There's always something new to learn as a volunteer. I mean, I'm one of the youngest volunteers from my group on the dog side, and I learned so much in the past 40 years, and so there's always a need, and we are open to have as many volunteers as we can, and you don't need to have any experience with animals, but just the will to volunteer your hours and help.
It's on the dog side, there's a, well, and the cat side too, there's a great need to come on a regular basis if you're volunteering. If it's once a week for 2 or 3 hours once a week, or if several times a week. But come on a regular basis so you can get to know the animals. You've got to, on the cats, they've got hundreds of 150 cats out there, so I suppose it's more difficult to get to know each one, but on the dog side, it's very important for us to develop a relationship with each individual
help them
dog.
first learn how to be around people and so on.
Yeah, that's right, and understand which dogs can be handled this way, and which dogs can be handled that way, and which dogs get along with each other and which dogs don't.
We're talking to Barry Rush and Isabela Alston of the Mower County Humane Society. Isabela, how do animals even end up at a shelter?
Many ended up by being picked up in the city by the pound. They are mostly strays or dogs that just took a joyride, and those are the lucky ones that oftentimes get claimed before they even ended up in the Humane Society. They're the sad surrenders, because I believe that everybody who has to surrender a pet will have a hard time, and there are many scenarios that can make a pet homeless. It's not much different than what some humans go through when they lose their shelter. They need a place that they can rely, and that's where we try to fill in the need for the homeless and stray animals that we come across.
About 80% of our dogs come from the city pound. The system works like this. If a dog is running or a cat is running astray in the city of Austin, then somebody notifies the police, a community services officer picks up that cat or dog, takes it to the pound, where it's by city ordinance it is supposed to be they're supposed to be held for 10 days, giving any owner a chance to claim that animal. If they don't claim it after 10 days, then the city is free to euthanize that animal. However, that's where we step in. If no owner claims the dog or cat, we take
that's where you come in.
Yeah, we take that animal over to our facility, where we give it a vet check, we socialize it, prepare it for adoption.
So a lot of cooperation with the city. We have about a minute left. Talk about the walk-a-thon. That's an important activity for your organization.
Isabela is going to be
the walk-a-thon is coming up this September. Is one of the many fundraisers that we do through the year. Is the one that we do in the end of the summer, and we welcome everybody who adopt a pet from us to bring your dog to walk and make a movement and make the city of Austin really aware of the need that we have to adopt and to be more responsible as pet owners, so they don't have to end up in the Humane Society or in the city.
So it's a fundraiser or just a walk?
It's a fundraiser. The people go out and they solicit pledges from people.
Oh, okay, that kind of thing.
And it's our largest fundraiser, yes.
You're also have a silent auction, yard sales?
Yeah.
We have meet and greets through the year. We have silent auctions. We do some yard selling. We have spaghetti dinner, Valentine's Day. So we have several fundraisers through the year to help fund the organization.
It costs us about $125,000 a year to operate the shelter, that's basically all comes from fundraising.
Well, we'll be watching for information on the walk-a-thon coming right up. And thank you both so much.
Thank you for having us.
Isabela Alston and Barry Rush, volunteers, folks, for the Mower County Humane Society. You can be one too. Just head on out there. It's out by the airport. Check it out. And some wonderful work out there, and see some wonderful pets that become friends. We'll be right back with our Vision 2020 update.
Queue up your own comments for On Cue and send them to us at onq@ksmq.org. On Cue's Vision 2020 segment is brought to you by Hormel Foundation, Games People Play, and Turtle Creek Estates.
And welcome back. Time now for our Vision 2020 update. John Gray is here from the Gateway Committee of Vision 2020, and all signs point to Austin, at least for the next 4 minutes and 15 odd seconds. But hey, we have some awesome artwork and a peek at the new signs, directional signs that you've come up with for Austin.
Well, not me, the committee.
It's lovely, though. Congratulations. We're going to show them to folks right now. What went into this?
Well,
It looks kind of historic, yet new, and these will not replace what's out there now, right? Or will they replace, like when you come off of 90 and it says historic home this way, and
yeah, there are some brown signs that were approved by MnDOT to put on their property, directing them into the community. The signage that we have created and put together will all be located within city limits, directing our visitors to the various nonprofit attractions within the Austin community.
wonderful.
So, yeah, we've heard from a number of people. It started back with the original Vision 2020 community survey that was done like 2011, 12, and we received over 4,000 ideas on how to improve Austin, make it a better place to live. But one of the things was that there needed to be some directional signage within the community to direct our visitors to where they needed to go. And then there also Austin Convention and Visitors Bureau, they heard from various tourists that visited where they struggled getting from here to there. So that's where the idea came from.
And the design, who came up with that?
The credit has to go to Beth Lowe. She is a new resident to Austin. I believe she's been here for less than 2 years. She's a graphic artist and has her own business and is a very talented young lady, but she came up with several designs, and the committee picked this one out, and then we've showed it to a number of others, including City Council, and everybody has fallen in love with the signage, saying it's very professional, very classic. As you can see, you're looking at it, and the viewers will see it on the screen, but it will list the various nonprofit attractions, as I'd mentioned. It'll show an arrow directing them to go forward or left, or make a left turn, right turn, and the approximate distance in miles to that location, so they have a feel for how far it is. Austin's not very big, but nonetheless.
How do you decide where they're going to go, where you're installing them?
That's a great question. The committee looked at the main arteries of Austin, and there are three. You have Oakland Avenue West and East, which runs from west to east. And so that covers right through the middle of town. But it goes from the very first entrance from west all the way to the east entrance by East Side Lake. So we've covered 2 entrances into Austin there. And as you know, Austin has 7. And then the 4th Street entrance and the 14th Street entrance. So those are main arteries going north and south. So we keyed on those 4, well, there are really 3 arteries, but those 4 main entrances. And then we added the entrance by the Hormel Corporate Office plant, Hormel Institute, as a main entrance coming into town as well. So then the committee looked at the major intersections coming off of those 5 entrances as to where a decision would need to be made by tourists as to where do I go. So, I mean, there was definitely a couple of meetings of discussion as to where do we place it, who should be on the signage. And
hopefully no city funds going to this cost.
No, you're absolutely correct. We went to City Council. The estimated cost, as we know right now, we're estimating, is $2,500 a sign. That includes the sign, the pole, and the installation. So at 19 locations, in total, that's $47,500. We asked for no money. We needed permission from the city council to put them on city property and to give them our plan, but mentioned that there would be no cost to them on the initial setup, but that they would be responsible for all upkeeps going into the future.
Congratulations, John. What a great process, and you've got a great product. Congratulations on the design to Beth Lowe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great young lady.
Just, you left out KSMQ on here. It's got to be on. That's one of the big nonprofit attractions to Austin's KSMQ.
We'll look at it.
Thanks, John Gray, and thank you for joining us. See you again next time on Q.
On Cue is a production of KSMQ Television in Austin, nonprofit public television.
You can access more information about KSMQ on Facebook and at ksmq.org.